What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are going to actually continue our coverage over DC's big summer event known as Night Terrors. Now, when it comes to Night Terrors, it's all about the idea of a new villain in DC Comics known as Insomnia. Now, when it comes to Insomnia, he's currently looking for something called the Nightmare Stone. Now, for him to be able to actually find the Nightmare Stone, he has to jump around between different people's nightmares to actually find it, because apparently someone had actually hidden the Nightmare Stone away in someone's nightmares. Now, for Insomnia, what he did was he put the entire world to sleep so that it'll be easier for him to jump around between different people's nightmares to hopefully find the Nightmare Stone. Now, with all that being said, when it comes to the main storyline is technically used as a way to see how certain heroes are going to be able to actually defeat Insomnia. And when it comes to the tie-ins are really used as a way to say, let's explore different heroes and villains across DC Comics and see what their nightmares are all about. What are these heroes and villains actually scared of? And so today's video is all about Superman, Night Terror Superman #1, to hopefully give us an idea of what is the Man of Steel actually scared of? What is his #1 fear? And this book right here actually explores that. And honestly, it's a good idea. I really did like this book a lot. At first, I was like, meh, but at the end, pretty good idea. And so here it is, Night Terror Superman #1. I do hope you enjoy. Now, when it comes to the opening pages of this book, it actually does pick up at the very beginning of the Night Terror event, which was Night Terror's First Blood #1. Because remember, the entire event technically did kick off with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman when they arrived at the Hall of Justice and they found the dead body of Dr. Destiny. Now remember, Dr. Destiny is this old DC villain. But when it came to Dr. Destiny, he was able to use the Dreamstone as a way to bring dreams into reality. But when they found him dead. Now, in reality, they found a nightmare version of him dead, but it still kind of scared our three main heroes. And so they all went their separate ways to figure out what in the world is going on. But for Superman, he was trying to go back to Metropolis to go link up with Supercorp. And remember, Supercorp is kind of a combination of Lex Luthor and Superman working together as one big company in the main Superman series. Either way, on his way there, of course, that was the moment you had Insomnia use his powers as a way to knock out Superman, and then this begins the idea of us exploring his nightmares to learn more about what's going on with the Man of Steel. And so to dive into his nightmare, we actually do see Superman, Clark Kent, right now at the Daily Planet. Now, with him being the Daily Planet, right off the bat, he realized that something is wrong here, that he should not be here. But unfortunately, with this being a nightmare, he can't truly remember what he was doing in the real world. He just knows that he should not be here right now. Either way, he is confronted by Lois Lane, his wife, Jimmy Olsen, his best friend, and soon to be confronted by Perry White, because apparently he was supposed to write some kind of big time story, but he forgot to write the story. But that is the moment you have Perry walk out and say, don't worry, because I have just written the last story that we're ever going to publish. Now, with him saying that, you're kind of wondering, what do you mean by that, Perry? And apparently, the next big article to drop for the Daily Planet is that the world has been saved, that there's no more crime across the world, which means that now there's no reason for the Daily Planet to actually make any kind of papers at all, because the world is not as bad as it was before this huge announcement. Now, that's also the moment you have Lex Luthor walk in and tell Clark that the reason why the world has been saved because these two characters work together like they're doing right now in the main Superman series, trying to make Metropolis better and soon the world better as well. But that is the moment you have Superman realize if Lex is here out of prison, but also the idea that the world is officially saved forever, this is fake. This is not real. And so then you have Insomnia show that he's very upset with the idea that Superman was able to figure out that this is not real, that this is a dream. And so that is the moment where we actually see Insomnia try to change up the nightmare, wreck it down, rework it into a different kind of nightmare to play mind games with Superman. And so what he does is that he shows Superman in this nightmare world that he is going to flood the entire city of Metropolis. Now, of course, for Superman, even though this is a dream, he still feels like this is a job for Superman to protect the city from the idea of being flooded. But the problem is, though, when he goes to pull open his shirt to change into his Superman outfit, it's not there. But on top of that, a different kind of Superman symbol has been burned into his body. But then that is the moment you have Insomnia greet himself to Superman saying, "Hey, I'm Insomnia and I'm looking for the Nightmare Stone. So go ahead and tell me, where is the Nightmare Stone?" Now for Superman, he has no idea what this guy is talking about. You're looking for the Nightmare Stone? What in the world is the Nightmare Stone? And how in the world can I help you find it? Because I have no idea where to look for it or what you're even talking about. But then you have Superman say, "This is a nightmare." And the thing is, if I'm in a nightmare right now, that means my friends and family are as well in nightmares, and that right there bothers me. But then you have Insomnia say, "Let me show you what your friends are going through in their own nightmares." And so he sends Superman flying what seems to be different nightmare realms, focusing on different characters in DC Comics. And so once Superman has landed somewhere, that is the moment where he's actually confronted by a nightmare version of himself. And we're going to call this Nightmare Superman. Now, when it comes to Nightmare Superman, he does tell Clark Kent that technically he is Clark, but at the end of time. And what he means by that is because Superman has the powers he has, there is a possibility that he may outlive Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, but on top of that, he may outlive the entire human race and end up being lonely on Earth. And so right now, when it comes to the end time of Superman or Nightmare Superman, he's telling our Superman, Clark Kent, this is you just in the future at the end of time, by yourself, lonely, and you hate that you're not able to actually move on like everybody else did to the afterlife. But then you have Nightmare Superman say, "Let me show you another nightmare of yours." And so what you have Nightmare Superman show Clark Kent is the idea of Krypton blowing up. Now, hear me out, because what Nightmare Superman is trying to say is that you were able to actually escape Krypton right before it blew up, which is a great thing. Give you props there. But here's the thing though. One of your worst fears is that your past is going to catch up with you. And what they mean by that is when it comes to Superman, he hates the idea that Krypton blew up. But his worst fear is that the same thing that happened to Krypton could happen to Earth as well. And so you have Nightmare Superman say, these are your nightmares, where you're afraid to be alone because you watch the end of the human race slowly because you outlived them, or because something big happens where Earth blows up and technically, again, you're left alone, but you feel guilty that you were unable to actually save the Earth. These are two different nightmares that are going to haunt you thanks to Insomnia. And so that is the moment where you do have Superman hear someone calling out to him. And of course, that person who's calling out to him is no other than Supergirl, his cousin. And the reason why, because she was actually able to jump into his nightmare. Now, at first, that may seem a tad bit wild, but we have actually seen that other tie-ins when it comes to the tie-ins for Night Terror. Because when it came to the Robins, Jason Todd and Tim Drake, they had to share the same nightmare with one another. And so it would make sense that right now, Supergirl and Superman are able to share the same nightmare. Now, you do have Supergirl tell Superman that what she is trying to run away from And apparently what she's trying to get away from is an army of zombie Supergirls who are coming after our Supergirl. Now, something I said earlier when it came to Insomnia, that when it came to Insomnia, he put the entire world to sleep so that he'll be able to actually jump around between different people's nightmares. Well, we kind of find out that technically he didn't put everybody to sleep. Well, he did on the surface, not Atlantis. Because Superman right now being knocked out on the beach, that is the moment you have the Aquaman family appear wondering what in the world is going on around the world. Because these characters right here, they seem like they're not affected at all by what Insomnia did. But the question is though, how? And that is something we're going to find out in another video down the road. With that being said though, guys, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.